jars to table. Welcome to my cold kitchen, which is why I am dressed, but I'm often seen in my dressing gown with an apron on. But let's show you what I went through. It cost me £93. I got some frozen chicken wings, so these are going to be sort of, we use them as a snack over the next 24 hours because they've already been frozen, so you can't freeze them again. But these eggs are really great from the butcher, and they cost me, I think they cost me something like £2.50, so that's a bargain. Got two big joints of beef that cost me £40, £20 each, so they're going to be cubed up, fried and then canned. For the same weight I've got a mixture of minced beef and minced pork, and that's going to be turned into meatballs, and they're going to be oven cooked. How can I do an oven cook the meatballs if I don't have an oven or a hob? I'm using can you see it? Here's my halogen oven, so I'm going to be using that. Haven't got my oven, what a nightmare. Anyway, then I must have about 40 or 50 chicken thighs deboned in here. They're going to be washed in water and a bit of vinegar to give them a good clean. Probably do it several times, and then I'm going to be canning that lot. But really today, for those that are preserving our proteins, getting ready, I always like to do a big meat haul of this. Probably every 6 weeks or so. I buy a lot and then I can it. But the meatballs is the one that I'm going to show you how to do, the way that I'm going to be doing it. And the first thing is really seasoning it how you want to season it. I'm just going Italian, but I am going to be putting it in the halogen into small so that it's really compacts. I'm not doing large, I'm doing small. And then once I've done that, I'm going to be putting it into a stock, covering them, and then I'm going to be putting them, because they'll be cooked, but I'm then going to be putting them into a pressure cooker, my own small pressure cooker that I have, because I'm having to use a portable stove at the moment. And then we're done. So we'll be quick. This will be hopefully a quick video. Right, that's the chicken washed. I'm going to use my halogen bowl to mix up the pork and beef, because it's the largest bowl I've got, and I want to put some spices in there, and I want to have the room to do it. So a handy tip is the meat bags that it comes in, give them a wash, because they're the first thing that are going to stink up your bin, and nobody likes that smell after a few days. So I always fill up my sink with hot water, hot soapy water, and put them in. But anyway, let's get on with this now then. I want to put a bit of nutmeg in because somebody actually talked about that and adding just a bit of nutmeg. So I'm putting in as much as I want to have, and I think actually that'll be enough. I'm putting in Italian seasoning. I'm going to be fairly heavyish with it. A bit more, why not? I've got some onion powder. Break it up a bit. Now some people don't like putting salt in theirs, but I add salt into everything, so I'm not bothered about that. And I'm using some black pepper with my Fandango. Now I found if I over pepper it, the boys can taste it a little bit too much for their liking, so I'm not going to overdo that. But the salt for me is a must. I don't mind salt in canning. Then the last thing is some chilli. I don't want to add too much for my taste, for the boys' taste, but just enough to give it enough heat. And then I've got clean hands, so I'm now just going to spend a good few minutes mushing these two meat varieties together. Now, oh, it smells really nice actually. That nutmeg. Oh, that nutmeg seems to be the magic ingredients. The reason why you put these in the oven is because you want them to compact. If you fry them, they can brown without cooking, and they also might lose their shape. Where what I want is a fairly compact little meatball that's no bigger than that, otherwise it won't fit in the jars. But the other reason for putting it in the oven is I want to keep and retain all the juices, because they're going to go back in with the stock that's going to cover it, because I don't want to lose any of that fat, if that makes any sense. Right, so it's been cleaned. I've transported all my gorgeous mince into here, and now is the painstaking job of me not doing what I always do, which is I do them too big. I'm not putting any breadcrumbs in it, but I'm getting it into a really nice ball. Sorry, the light is awful, but I'm putting it, yeah, the light's awful. I've got my back to the light. But anyway, so I'm now going to put these in here. I'm not adding any fat to the bottom. They'll naturally, fat will naturally occur. Right, so I've done that. I'm in the process of putting some more in, but these will go in the oven first, and I'd better get on with that chicken. Let's see if that's a bit better. I've actually resorted to putting a torch above here. Yeah, so the point is to keep these nice and together. I'm doing the one thing that I wouldn't normally do, which is compact it. So that they remain in a decent shape. Now you want to put them in for, if anybody asks, you want them to go in at a medium level, because you don't want these to cook on the outside and then and start to get too brown. Basically what I mean is I want all the fat from this to drip out. I want them to cook, but I want the heat, a medium heat, to allow the fat to actually drip out. That's, I think I just repeated myself. But anyway, because then it will retain its shape better, I think. Because I do want them kind of nuggety and quite sort of stout. Right, moving on. That's what I'm looking for, and if you can, I don't know if you can see here, but the fat is already draining out. I'm going to save all of that. Can you see? They're like melting. All the fat is melting out of it. That's just what I want. So I just wanted them brown, thoroughly cooked, and they're ready to go in the jars now. So, while we're waiting for these to keep, I'm on my third round now of, and I can fit about 34 meatballs in this at a time, so I'm actually going quite quickly. So onto the chicken. They've been washed and they've been deboned, so I don't fold it, although the bottom one, you know, it goes, I just let it drop, and I don't pack these in, I just let it drop, and then I fill up with water, but I'm going to give a generous headroom, because with this I actually want more water to cover this. So I'm going to give more than the usual inch, because these are quite fatty, and I have a feeling that, well, I don't want too much siphoning, if you know what I mean. Give a little feel of all of them, just so in case there's any cartilage that I've missed, or bones. So have a bit of a feel around. But this is the easiest thing to can, is chicken, and I might save a few aside to add to a chicken curry that I'm going to make tonight. I normally can everything, but actually it would be nice to have something fresh. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and I've got a meal out of that. Now I normally put them in the 250 jars because I like to make my meat go further, but as it worked out, I haven't got any of those free or available, so it was my 500 milliliter jars only. Right, so they've been debubbled. I've left ample amount of space. I don't want them to be above water, because I am going to be using half of this for a meal, because I'm very frugal with my meat and poultry, and I'm going to use the remaining half for chicken sandwich spread, and it's almost like a chicken mousse that they can take for school. So I'm going to make sure that I take every precaution. They've been debubbled, I'm leaving a good amount of space, and I will make sure that they're covered with liquid. But even though I'm covering it with liquid, there's still going to be enough space. I don't want to take any chances with, because it's going to be eaten straight from the jar in a lot of the cases. I don't want any greying, and I definitely don't want any siphoning. Right, so I've done 8 jars. I've tasted them, absolutely delicious. I mean, I'll put the link in somewhere for the lady that told me about nutmeg, because that was a great idea. Also, doing it in here meant that all the sludgy stuff that would have dirtied the water has mainly stayed at the bottom. And I've made from a stock cube, so there's no thickener in it. I've put some chicken stock here in some hot water, and I've put all the juice that came from the fat of the meatballs cooking, so that's all going to go in now. Right, so it's on to the beef. It's darker now because it's been a few days, but let's get on with it. You know the drill. I'm doing it how I'm always doing it, which is cut it up, fry it in lard. You can do clarified butter, but I prefer lard. And by pre-frying it, what you're doing is forming an edge which is going to around the edges, which is going to keep its shape once you reheat it from the cans. I wouldn't do it any other way now. It's worth the extra bit of trouble, and it makes for a better dish at the end of the day. Just managed it with 2 jars to spare. I want to show you this. So this is what's at the bottom. This is your beef dripping. And if you let this go cold, put it in the fridge, it will pretty much turn to just brown butter in the consistency. But this stuff is what they used to put on bread for beef dripping sandwiches going back in the war. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a boiling water and a beef stock cube to this, and I'm going to add it to my jars. Well, I hope this is in focus, but if you can see, the lard dries hard and it dries white. So instead of doing what you normally do, you just want to get some tissue and just wipe that bit off before you go round with the vinegar and the water, because it does spread. It's like never-ending grease. So just make sure that you do that with any jars that you can see that there is a specific bit, and then use the vinegar and water. Well, I'm done, and took me 3 days all in all, because I have to work during the day. But so I wrote it all down. All in all, it's 77 meals, and I'll for £84, I think the receipt was. But so let's break it down. 14 jars of beef. I've used a few, but there was 14 jars of beef. Now, for some of these, I won't use all that beef in one go. Look how clear that is. Now, the sediment at the bottom, but look how clear that is. And there's some good fat inside of it as well on the top. But I'll be using some of these larger ones, these and the wider ones here. These will be for 2 meals, but they're about somewhere between 700 and 750 millilitres. But look how clear that is, and that's because we have fried it, pre-fried. But I'll be doing those large ones for 2 meals. I've used quite a few of the meatballs. So there is 8 meatballs here. I will do 2 meals for the large ones, 1 meal for the single. And let's lift that up. Again, when you pre-fry, look how clear that is. You can see the light through the window. And you've got that fat on the top, which is good for you, or you can just skim it off and use it for frying. But here's a lift up. Can you see? Looks like amber, doesn't it? But again, yeah, so I used a few of those, and that was but it was 8 meatballs all in all. And if I'd made them larger, I probably would have got more jars but less balls, if you know what I mean. So when you do them quite small, you're able to really fill it. Then for my chicken, let's look at this beautiful amber. Now this is just done for, let's get one with a bit more liquid, shall we? So this was packed in raw, and you can see you might be able to just see the window through it, but it's quite heavily packed, this one. I will be using, even though this is kind of, I think, 500 milliliter, I will be using these for 2 meals every time. So what was 11 jars of chicken? It's actually, I would classify this as 22 meals, because I will use half of it, excuse my nails, I will use half of it, and then the other, for like stir fries and stuff like that, but the other half I'm going to use for making chicken paste or chicken mousse for sandwiches. But yeah, it's really pretty. I mean, some people call it ugly chicken, but if you've ever opened canned chicken, which is extremely expensive, it looks just the same. So yeah, all in all, I class this as 77 meals. I think that's pretty phenomenal. So go use your local cheap butcher that's got good health practices, and hope you enjoyed this. And I think there should be a picture up of the meal with my meatballs. That's the first thing that we did. And obviously there was I put some Cajun seasoning, lots of salt, and I used the chicken wings, and that was for one whole meal. But okay, well, I'm gonna go, because that was that, and I'm happy with it. Anyway, bye.